Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. So I just came back from some pre-rifts, and I was able to get a couple extra packs from stopping at a couple stores who had extras. So I figured for a video this week, because pre-rift kind of took away my ability to do my regular recording, I figured I'd open a couple packs here and then kind of maybe discuss what I wanted to do with each of the packs, maybe a quick deck build or something like that, and see how that goes. I won't go ahead and do the full deck build or anything like that, but kind of highlight the kind of things that I'm thinking about when I'm doing these. I don't know if you guys will find this interesting or not, but I figured I'd give it a shot. So for those who haven't done one of the pre-rifts before, you end up getting a seeded pack. This is a known entity pack. You know exactly what's in it once you see the leader on the top. And then you get a pre-release promo here. We have the Ash, who you are not allowed to use in the thing, but it's a pretty good card. I think going into the future, it'll be a card that sees play in various places. So you get both of those. In addition, you get 5 more packs, making about 6 packs, one of them being kind of heavily seeded to push you in a direction. This time we've gotten Diana. The blue-purple representative for this set, which is actually one I'm actually quite interested in. I'll post a community post because in my pre-rift I did pull the Overnumber Diana, so that'll definitely be one that I'm looking to play for this next set. So I'm glad to have been able to pick up the actual pre-rift kit as well, because it'll give me a starting point, because I didn't pull the Diana in my previous pack. So looking through these, we have the blue Diana, Crescent Strike. Not sure if this one is quite as good, but 4 damage for 3, even though it costs a power, it can be pretty reasonable. Existential Dread, pretty good. This one, I haven't heard particularly good. Good tech card here in Icefield Archer. Eclipse is looking to be maybe a new staple here, filling the slot that Smokescreen does. Kaisa can still use Smokescreen, but a lot of other decks will just rather use the power. This one I want to try in Jinx with the discard ability. Starcross looks to be a very big powerhouse in the upcoming format, so that's great to get a copy of that. Crescent Guardian, Moonlight Affliction, I don't think we'll see too much of that. Walking Roost and Bewitching Spirit. Bewitching Spirit in particular looks really good in the Pike decks. Being able to play this one a whole bunch of times in a row would be quite effective. And then finally we have Abandoned Hall. When you play a spell, give a unit they control here +1 this turn, which is pretty good for a deck that is really focused around playing spells, particularly in combat. And then we have our bird token. So that is the pre-deck. Because I got Diana, I am going to be looking for stuff that fits in blue-purple to start. I don't have to end up in those colors, but that's definitely where I'm going to be biased. So looking through our packs, we'll lay them out in color by color. Red, green, orange. Let's move this down here. Purple and yellow. Angler Beast, back off. Stun is quite a good mechanic in this set, especially if we can get some stuff that goes with Vex. Monch, a good reason to be running the stun package. We have a Legend here. Legends are a little unfortunate to get because they use up one of your rare slots, which is unfortunate. In my pre-rift that I did just came back from, I started with the Ivern leader, and I ended up pulling 6 total leaders through my 6 packs. So that was not great for my pool. I did get the Overnumber Diana, so I won't complain about it. But it did not mean, it meant that I did not have very strong packs for the competition. We've got a Lilia here, another fun one here. Another Legend, which is unfortunate. And then we got the Rengar signature. Unfortunately, this is double colors outside of this, so it's actually kind of difficult to run in this particular pool here. But definitely something, if we can get the right thing, we will definitely want to run it. We have Vi here, so Vi can actually run it in PreRift, because if you're unaware, your signature spell rules are relaxed, and all it has to do is match your colors, of which you pick 3 for PreRift. And then once you have your 3, you get to play any of the cards that match the color identity of those. In this case, if we did Vi, then we'd have to pick orange as our 3rd color, and we'd be able to run the Thrill of the Hunt. Towering Combatant here. Here we have another champ. That's 4 champs so far in these packs. So not a great start here. And then a yellow LeBlanc and a rune and this. So actually we're really far behind actually on what's it called? On really far behind on rares for this so far. Towering Combatant. Oh, he's an orange unit. I better move him over there. We have Paraphant, Would-You Apprenticed, Mr. Root, Bandle Soldier, Grim Resolve, Evershade Stalker, another one that I want to try in Jinx there with the discard synergy, Gentle Gem Dragon, Allay, Eager Admirer, Vaults of Helia, Sprite Queen, and Meduli Gatekeeper. Nice that those are both in our colors, so I won't complain too much about getting those, even if Meduli I feel like is probably a tough one to make work. It might work in PreRift okay because your opponent can't reliably stack battlefields the way they'd like. Meaning you can bring him in without too much issue. Let's see what we get in our last pack. Hopefully we don't get any more legends, because that would really handicap us. Ooh, double battlefields here. We get Trixie Tentacle. Move any number of units with the same controller and -20 to a single location. Ooh, interesting. Not sure how to use this one best. That's a lot of might that you could be moving around. And then finally, we get our yellow Poppy here, which if you can get the XP going, I think is pretty reasonable. But it is definitely a tough one because you definitely have to have access to the might or the XP to make that work. So then reviewing our stuff, you usually want to look at rares first, acknowledging that those are probably going to be our best cards. That's just the reality. We also have a Star-Crossed in here, which would make 2, which is definitely a good place to be if we end up staying with Diana. Yellow is a possible 3rd color if we get enough experience here. We have a couple rares in yellow. And then looking at blue, we've got Sprite Queen and Lilia. Yeah, with the rares counts, it's almost certain that we're going to stay with our Diana deck here. Just because we got so many of the legends here, 4 out of 6, it definitely hurts. And then we just have to figure out what our 3rd color is. So we had no rares in orange. Let's see if there's anything in particular. Gromp is pretty good at getting that XP, but if we're not running yellow, then we don't really need the XP as much. Dragon Soul Sage is actually quite strong. I faced one today, and it definitely did a lot for them. I think actually I'm going to go ahead and cut out orange, which means we're going to give up on Thrill of the Hunt here. And I think we will end up playing... Actually, yeah, all of these are double off color from our thing, so none of them are even really an option. Now, looking at the remaining colors, orange is out here. Let's go ahead and put that up there. Let's see. These 2 are probably going to be in, so I'm not even going to worry about those. Yellow, we get Poppy, LeBlanc, who can be pretty good. The power cost hurts a little bit on it, but because we have some sprite synergies, maybe the LeBlanc will work out for us. Giving us some temporary stuff that we can try to take advantage of. Well, I guess this one's not. This wants to be, what's it called? Sacrifice, not to watch other things. Sacrifice. The blue LeBlanc is the better one for that. Divining Shells. This one might be okay. Loyal Poro is pretty good, and Heroic Charge can be good. So this one is really coming down to these 3 cards, I think, if we were going to do them. But not a strict requirement. If we're in red, then it's pretty much Jin, and then we can see if we can make Revna work. I think we might have some good spells that fit there. Yeah, probably these 2 are the cards that I'm looking to splash, if we splash at all here. And then green, it would be kind of for these Monches and back off here to see. Let's see if we have any of the purple stuns here. Star-Crossed, I think we have 1 in the deck. Blast Cone can work as a stun. Yeah, so just 1 extra stun here, and I think we have the 1 in the deck. So maybe that would work. Let's see, it is Existential Dread. So there's definitely something to be said about the stun cards, because these Monches would be good if we can find some stun, and then we have a little bit of stun. Yeah, so green is a possibility for sure. And actually looking at those cards, I think it would actually be correct to just stick with these 3 colors. So that is where I would end up on my things. And then the first thing you want to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we need at least 12 more cards that we would add here. Sticking with our champion here, and then our blue Diana as our default here. I think that's probably correct. Accelerate when I move, temporary tokens. Yeah, our only other option really is the Lilia for champion, because we did not get champions in the other colors. So it'll probably be Diana with Lilia in the deck, just to lean into the sprites. The Sprite Queen probably makes it for sure. And then we can do the Iceveil Archer is probably pretty good for us. Downstage Dramatics works pretty well in Diana, just because you get the extra energy from the leader, or the legend, I should say. And then we probably Julie, Star-Crossed. Everstage Soccer is a pretty good on-curve play. Mr. Root can be a 2-drop if we need them. Blast Cone for more stun. Maybe Angler Beast if we can make that work. And Walking Roost is probably good enough from just a stats point of view. It just generates a bunch of stats here. Especially because you can usually deal with this. If we use Crescent Strike, for example, we can knock out the bird token without having to deal with the deflect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus the 13 here, that's 24. We actually only need 1 more card and we would have a full deck there. I'd have to look at the curve to see if we need some more 2-drops maybe. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We could probably use some more 2-drops here, so we can probably go back through. Oh, we were doing green as our 3rd color. I forgot this. So this Wuju Apprentice is probably fine as a 2-drop. Mutated Mouser is actually quite good. So I think probably we have seen all the cards that end up making the final deck. I won't go through cuts because I don't want to linger on this too long, because I don't have it all thought out or anything. But that was the first pack here, and I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of a peek into my brain on how I think about these. And with that, we'll hop into the second pack. Summarizing on this one though, for hits, we did hit the Rengar and the Poppy with some various legends here. I am glad that I got the Diana legend, even if I didn't get necessarily other good stuff. I would want at least one of the Dianas. Sprite Queen can be pretty good, Lily can be pretty good, and some Star-Crossed, which will be useful for Constructed. So these are our hits from the kit, and then the kit that or the deck that I think we would probably end up making would be blue, purple, and green. Moving on to the next one though. Here, let's pop this. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee here. All right, moving on to the next one. Let's see what we get over here. So again, we have, oh, it's Ivern again. This is the same as I got in PreRift. I didn't particularly like his ability. I actually ended up playing a Master Yi that I'd opened in one of my packs and ran Galio as my chosen champion. It didn't work out as well as I would have hoped. There were definitely a couple times where I felt like I was in the driver's seat, but it really felt like the deck really was kind of, what's it called? It was at the mercy of the dice roll by quite a bit. The game that I did get to go first felt pretty good because I was able to play out my Mousers and get ahead. But the other games didn't work as well. And then we have here the brush, which is the signature for, or the kind of the unique thing for Ivern. So that's what that deck looks like. And let's get into the packs. So just like with before, we're now looking into green and yellow and hoping that we get some good cards in that color because we already have that seeding. Red, green, blue, purple, yellow, orange, Abandoned Hall, Enthralling Protector, another Crescent Strike, Megatusk. This one actually can be pretty good, especially if you can generate enough stuff. We have an Evelyn, something that can be your chosen champion, but it's kind of awkward to have as your chosen champion because hidden is not as effective coming out of the champ zone. With Teemo, you get to put the card in your hand first, making it at least a little bit of a mystery. Oftentimes your opponents can still sniff it out, but just having the ability to pump fake something else being your hidden card can be quite valuable. A foil Mouser here, another leader here. We have Alpha Strike. Alpha Strike does match our colors, luckily, so we might be able to play that. Let's see, I haven't read the Alpha Strike recently, so what is exactly? You choose a friendly unit. It deals damage equal to its might split among enemy units at battlefields. Then for each unit this kills, do this, gain 1 XP. So we'll definitely be looking for big value creatures so that we can kind of maximize that. Ivern's not very good at that, and just browsing through our existing cards. The Wolf is not a bad card to target with it. The Starhound's okay. This Poro is actually quite good, especially you can get it down early and then maybe play this Alpha Strike at an opportune time to kind of steal the tempo away from our opponent really well, which would be great. But let's keep looking, keep our eye out for other big characters that we can use with that Alpha Strike potentially. Sharkling, Shadow Watcher, Soul Harvest, Isolate, Angler Beast. Oh, Back Off is good. Frozen Fortress, Determined Sentry. This one is definitely an interesting one. You get to capture early with him, and then just kind of try to take advantage of some early tempo. Being a 1 cost means you can actually go second quite well and take a line with 2 guys, which works out pretty nicely. I'm really interested to see what that one does in, what's it called, in Constructed. Eclipse, this one's great. Pigeons, Resolve, Snapjaws, Rose, another Blast Cone, Divining Shells, Inferna, Tactical Retreat. So where it's in yellow, we get another legend, and then ooh, this is actually a really pretty body rune. I'm trying to tell what exactly is going on here. It's got mushrooms growing out of what looks like dragon scales. What an interesting combination. Pretty card nonetheless, even if it doesn't contribute too much to our game plan. Fortunately, we're looking a little weak again here for this PreRift. Not terrible value being able to pull both the signature spell and the rune there, but still nothing quite as nice as what we would like. Charkham Dancer, lots of battlefields, unfortunately. Angler Beast, Keeper of Mysteries, and Undying Legion. This one can be quite good, just because it's just generates so much value. You have to be kind of heavy in red though, which would put us in green, red, yellow, which is something we can look at. Looking through our things, we have just the Sentry as a rare here. Some decent 2 costs here, and Gromp is quite good, but nothing too big in orange, which might mean we have to give up on Alpha Strike. I guess Gromp plus Alpha Strike is definitely a reason to keep orange, so we'll consider that. Red, we have the Undying Legion. That's a Apothecary. What does this guy do again? Ambush. When you play me, you may return a friendly unit at a battlefield to its owner's hand. So this one's interesting. I don't know the best way to play out this. I guess this is something you can ambush somebody coming in against a 2. You pop in as a 3, kind of making their math different, and then use that guy back again. Allbreaker can be pretty good here, especially if you end up in a deck that has any amount of readying, which doesn't look like we would, because we don't have the Vi legend. So I feel like red is probably out. Looking at purple, we have some... Evelyn is a bit tough to use. This guy is good just as a 6 with no energy or power cost, which can be quite good. This one is very good against other Ivern decks. But it also works against you, so it might not be one that we want to run, even if it is a pretty respectable otherwise. This one is probably fine, although the giving them birds is worse in Ivern because you, if you're turning stuff into fresh, it can be a problem. This one, so we have some stun cards, which will be good. Frisky, Hunter, Mutated Mouser. We actually have quite a few cats here. So it might be correct to try to load up real hard on the Ivern deck here. Tactical Retreat. This one's probably less good than in this deck than others, but we might be able to make use of it. The Pigeons for a bird. Ivern cares about bird. No, wait, it's Poros, cats, dogs, and birds. Yes. So the Crimson Pigeons probably makes the thing. Soul Harvest can be good. Poro, Fae here, probably really reasonable. So yellow, obviously staying in. And so at this point, it is down to blue. What do we have in blue? Keeper of the Masks, probably less good here. Ruined Rex can be quite good. Eclipse can be quite good. Centaur might work. Crescent Strike, Sprite Burst. So there's actually some pretty decent blue cards here. I think with the context of Gromp, Alpha Strike, then what do we have here? We definitely are doing green and yellow. I think that that's going to be our main game plan. And how do we fill it out? I almost think that purple is probably the best thing here, with just having some big bodies here without any energy costs that we can kind of curve into. And then maybe if we can make a good brush, we can use Evelyn to yank in something to fight our army of guys, and that can work out pretty well for us. We have, I think, 2, 3 mousers, and the mousers are really good in those sort of situation. Yeah, we have 3 mousers because 1 is in the deck. So I think that actually might be a pretty good thing to do. Stack up a bunch of guys in a brush, and then if you can get the Evelyn to stick, then drag in something there. So current Forerunner is purple. Although this is pretty reasonable too. Probably I end up playing these 3 colors. And yeah, I think that is probably where we end up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little video and kind of discussing through kind of some thoughts for how PreRift can go. Let me go over the hits real quick to make sure that we have all of those highlighted. We have the body rune, we have Alpha Strike here. And then we have, looks like the rest of our pull was all rares, but luckily we only got 2 extra legends, which compared to all my other ones has been good, just having extra rares in the decks. But thanks again for hanging out. I will hopefully be able to get out some Unleashed content next week. Hopefully we'll be able to get enough together to do a Nexus night with that. There is 1 or 2 more pre-rifts that I'm hoping to do this week. If my regular locals does get it, I will try to record, just in case that's something that you guys might be interested in. I'll try to record and put up those videos, but their kits didn't come in, so I'm not sure if that will happen. But you guys will hear about it in my community tab if it does. And until next time, bye.